Hey, hi everyone. Good morning. Sorry about the slight delay. There was a technical glitch on my side. This is Deepak here. Hope all of you can hear me. Just let me quick check if everybody is fine and if everyone can see the screen. Can all of you see the screen and hear me? Okay, Samson. And what about the screen? Are all of you looking at the future is cloud screen now? Okay, you can type in the response in the questions window. All right. Okay, wonderful. So, very good morning to all of you. Thank you for taking out time on a Saturday, on a weekend. Really appreciate it. And the next 1 hour, it will be worth your time, that I can assure you. And what we are going to quickly do in this particular session is fundamentally two things. The first thing that we'll do is look at cloud computing and DevOps in general as an industry trend, right? As well established industry sectors or domains rather, or you can use any other word, but these are the two technological revolutions which have taken the market by storm again, right? In addition to machine learning, AI, and so if you look at the top four things that people are talking about, if you look at the top four technology trends that people are publishing about, writing about, and people are investing in, it's of course machine learning and artificial intelligence. Then cloud is in the top two. Then you have big data, and then you have DevOps, right? So we are going to talk about two out of the top four technology trends, and we look at the market size, we look at the industries, we look at what the companies are interested in doing, and what are they benefiting, and what are they getting up out of this. And you as a professional, what can you do, right, to exploit this particular opportunity and to potentially change your career trajectory, right, with that. The second thing that we'll have a look at is how Great Learning and Great Lakes, as well-known organizations, can help you get onto this particular journey, right? How Great Learning can help you become a solid cloud professional and a hands-on DevOps professional as well, right? So we'll go into the details later, but unlike a typical presentation, I don't have a title slide, right? I thought it wouldn't be wise to waste even a second when you are discussing such exciting things, right? So the first slide for you that I have here is, which you will also, by the way, find in our brochure, is what cloud is all about, right? And then what's the future of cloud in general. So these are the four statistics that various authorities have published, right? So people are saying it's about over $400 billion market by the next year, right? We are almost close to 2019 now, and we are saying almost every company is running workloads on the cloud, right? Applications, databases, uh, storing their logs and monitoring infrastructure and so on. Now, most of the companies are not just using cloud, they're also using multi-cloud solutions. So they are looking at multiple cloud platforms, not just one. So if you were to learn, let's say, if you were a senior professional and if you wanted to become an architect, having an understanding of just one cloud platform might not be sufficient, right, for you to carry out your job. And finally, the thing is, it's not just happening globally. Cloud is pretty much an Indian phenomenon as well. And we'll have a look at what people are doing in India specifically, right? So with that note, let's get started, and let's see what companies are trying to do with cloud and DevOps. So if you look at the last decade or so, if you look at, let's say, the last 15 years, 1.5 decades, companies have changed the way they use information technology, right? One, companies have changed how they approach IT. Second, the nature of companies themselves have changed, right? So you see all these new type of companies coming in: Ola, Uber, Slack, right? Airbnb, Oyo, etc. Right? So all these, it's not just about startups, right? It's also about enterprises. But if you look at the new age companies, they have used the power of cloud at a massive scale, right, at a global scale, and they have used the agility, the cost savings, and the flexibility that you get with cloud and its global infrastructure to scale up their operations rapidly, right? So all of these companies, most of the companies in the last 1.5 decades have stopped worrying about their servers, their infrastructure, and they do not want to be in that particular situation because I think most of us will agree. As much as IT is exciting and as cool as it is, and based on the number of benefits that it brings, right, it is still an enabling function, right, for most of the businesses. Banks want to do banking, right? And because people are technology savvy, they have to use technology, right? So banks need technology, but that is not their core business, right? Uber needs technology, but of course, it's not their core business. Okay, so similarly, IT has been an enabling factor, and it should continue as an enabling factor. And so for a non-IT company whose core business is not information technology, managing a data center and managing a whole set of servers and databases and so on is a huge bottleneck for them, right? They need to have a dedicated staff, funding, all of that. So companies have evolved. They're spending less time wrestling with servers because at the end of the day, from a customer perspective, I don't care, right? If Ola uses 1 million nodes or has multiple data centers around the world, let's say just in India, for this particular case, if I don't get a cab ride when I need it, right, I don't care how sophisticated Ola or Uber's infrastructure is, right, and how sophisticated Facebook's infrastructure might be, if I can't post an update when I actually need it. With that perspective, you don't get points for using servers as a company. You only get points for serving your customers, right? So that is exactly what cloud is enabling people to do. Interestingly, if you also look at the companies that have been, started recently, when I say recently, I mean in the last, let's say 7, 8 years, there's a term literally which is born on cloud, right? So companies have taken birth literally on the cloud. They have thrived. They have survived on the cloud infrastructure, and they continue to function on top of a public cloud platform, right? It could be a mix of public and private, but there are companies literally who are born on cloud who do not have any real infrastructure of their own, but they are still global companies, and that is where they are leveraging the power of cloud, its geo-distributed nature, its highly available resources, and so on, right? So these are just some of the examples. It is not an exhaustive list. This is only to give you an idea of what cloud can enable you to do, and especially if you're an entrepreneur, or even if you're a student at a university, if you wanted to build a project a few years back which involved, for example, let's say 10 machines, or forget 10 machines, even 4 machines, to build a project and to demonstrate it, God knows what all things we had to do, right, just to get 4 machines, probably pool from your friends and so on. But today, if you want to build something as an entrepreneur, as a student, as a technology professional, even in an existing project in a company, just to show to your boss or a client, hey, this is what it is. We all build proof of concepts, right, before we actually get any project or any dollars. Cloud, one of the aspects of cloud is it allows you to innovate very fast, right, at a rapid pace. So if I wanted to build a prototype for a big data solution, for example, I don't have to worry about a Hadoop solution. I don't have to worry about where it is running. I don't have to worry about the power bill, the maintenance of that particular cluster, and so on. All I need to know is Hadoop know-how and big data know-how, right? And that is something which is in our control. And as far as infrastructure, apps, services is concerned, cloud will take care of that. Of course, you need to configure things. Of course, you need to set up all of that, but you don't have to worry about buying all of that, right? You can just pay for what you're using, which is one of the many benefits of cloud, and you can get ahead, right, in the game. So that is what has enabled these kind of companies to function globally. So they're focusing completely on the product rather than everything else apart from the product, which enables them, right? So that's the power of cloud. Just a few numbers here to give you a fair idea of where we are heading. there are different estimates, of course, and the numbers will differ. But one thing you can rest assured is cloud will stay solid and healthy for the next 5 years to 10 years at least, right? I also wrote an article on this particular thing, and I've recently just created a video to explain my thoughts. So cloud will be there for the next decade. Of course, it will get consolidated. Cloud also will get automated over time, but it will take a few years. So it's a huge market. If you look at the top row, the amount of money being spent in cloud, and if you look at the top right corner here, like I said earlier, most of the companies are using cloud, and not just one single cloud platform. It is multi-cloud approach, right? If you look at the second row here, there are two major players that you need to be aware of as an aspiring professional. Some of you might already be working on one of these platforms or both of them, right? So if you're in the other category where you have some experience of these two platforms, you might want to consolidate that experience, build projects and get an understanding of how things fail, when do they fail, because guess what, in real life, things do not work as they are listed in the white paper, right, or in a service catalog. They will fail, so we need to understand that as well. So AWS and Azure are the top two market leaders as of now. Google is quickly catching up, right? And my personal strong belief is by 2022, in the next 3 years, Google will catch up a lot, right, from these two peers, because for all the good things that Google does, right, in terms of solid innovation, somehow it screws up, in terms of selling its solutions to the customers. So two top players, Azure and AWS, and the industry is massive, for you as an aspiring professional. So it's not just a global phenomena; it is also happening in India, right? It's almost a $4 billion market in the next 1 year. That is 3 times the growth that has happened in the span of 4 years. And if you look at this particular graph, the trend is really positive, right? And this is just the public cloud services market. We are not even talking about private cloud, enterprises setting up hybrid cloud setup and so on. This is just the public cloud services that people are consuming, right? From Azure, from Google, from AWS, etc. Right, so it is happening in India as well. So it's pretty much a very global phenomenon. Public cloud adoption, again, consequent to this particular graph. So this number will only grow if people continue to adopt public cloud services. So again, AWS, Azure are the top two players. Google Cloud is a distant third, but I'm very sure it will pretty much catch up. And IBM Cloud and VMware and Oracle play more so in the private cloud space rather than public services. So if you look at IBM Cloud revenues and what kind of projects they are doing, even VMware Cloud, they are major players in the private cloud segment, right? But if you look at public cloud, AWS, Azure, and Google are the top three players. So for the question, who is using cloud, from the survey that RightScale did, so this is from the 2018 State of the Cloud report, 96% of the respondents were using cloud, right? Without getting into what form of cloud they were using, this is a very solid response, which clearly says, hey, almost everyone is using cloud today, right? So we shouldn't delay our jumping onto the bandwagon of cloud, whether you want to just learn it from a technology perspective to keep yourself updated, or you want to make a career out of it, right? Because whether we like it or not, jobs will go to cloud, especially jobs which can be automated, right? So for example, many things that DB admins did, right? Many things that middleware professionals kind of tweaked and automated all the time so that all the components would work. Many things where developers and infrastructure engineers had siloed approaches, right? So that's where DevOps came in and so on. So quite a number of things will move to cloud. So it's a good idea for people who are interested in this particular area, and also so from both perspectives, right? Learning as well as saving the job. The other good thing and positive trend about cloud in general is that the number of traditional data centers, right? Now, data centers are, the infrastructure what enables cloud to happen. Okay, so essentially all major cloud providers need a data center. So they will have a data center all across the world, and that is what you see when you look at where Microsoft Azure is, where AWS is, and that is what they call their availability zones and geographical locations. So they have data centers all over the world. Now, before cloud happened, right? We still had data centers. It's not that cloud invented data centers, but earlier it was traditional. So when we say traditional, essentially what it was missing is virtualization, right? Software-defined networking, uh, automation in terms of saving energy cost, and automation in terms of the orchestration that happens as far as cloud is concerned. So minus all of those things, the traditional data centers existed even before cloud, but people are trying to transform that. Companies want to transform this, and companies want to change their traditional data centers into a cloud data center, into a virtualization based data center, into a container based data center, right? So that number is huge, especially in India. So in 2013, if you see the green color here, 76% of the data centers were traditional in nature. That has gone down to 63% in 2016, right? We don't have the latest figure, but this will again go down in the last couple of years. So two-thirds of the companies globally still use traditional data centers, and that number is larger in India. As a professional, this is an opportunity for me, right? If I'm in the networking domain, if I'm in the infra support domain, if I am in desktop support, right, data center engineering, automation engineer, all of that, this is an opportunity for me, right, to hop onto. So there's a lot of scope even in the data center ecosystem, and there's much more to cloud than just a data center. But this slide specifically tells you the scope of work that we need to transform a traditional DC to a private or public cloud DC. Just another statistic so that kind of reinforces the idea. So the adoption trend is positive, irrespective of what cloud platform you're using or what type of cloud deployment you're using. Recently, the interest in hybrid cloud has picked up, and for obvious reasons, right? For companies like, let's say telecom companies, uh, they would want to go potentially with a hybrid cloud approach because they already have massive infrastructure for themselves, right? As telecom companies. So if tomorrow XYZ operator wanted to have a cloud setup, which they already have, they would go for a hybrid cloud solution. So irrespective of the cloud deployment, which essentially tells you how do you want to implement cloud and for whom, who are the stakeholders, the adoption trend for cloud is really positive. So let me take a pause here and let me see if you guys have any questions, right? Because we will change the trajectory of our discussion from looking at the market and the adoption and the positive signs that we have. So as of now, I hope you guys are convinced enough that it's a huge opportunity as far as cloud is concerned, from all the statistics and graphs and adoption trends that we just discussed, right? So we will leave that aspect behind. And then now we will look at what are the other things that are part of the cloud ecosystem, right? So let me take a pause here and look at the question window. Okay, so I do not see any questions yet. I'll just wait for a minute and then we'll continue just to see if there are any questions coming in. And I hope you guys can still hear me. Okay, so no questions. So are we good to continue? Are you guys with me? Are we following each other? Because I just want to make sure that everybody is kind of understanding me and what I'm trying to say. Okay, wonderful. Great. So Manish has a question, so let me just quickly answer that and we'll move on. So Manish, I'm managing database domain as PM, which I will assume is a project manager or a program manager. How will this cloud help me? Okay, so Manish, what we can do is, I was kind of looking for questions from what we discussed now from the market, but like I said, database as a function, right? I would rather call it as a function and a technology rather than a domain. So I'm assuming if you're a program manager, is that true? Manish, what does a PM mean here? Okay, program manager, wonderful. So typically program managers won't do technical stuff, right? They will not manage databases, they will not create replicas, they will not, fine tune and optimize the databases and all of that, right? So I think my assumption again here is that you're managing more of, an account, customers, talk to your customers, financial management, looking at the resources and all of that. So we continuously talk to the industry, right? So I'll just give you an example. A well-known multinational company recently, came to us and had a very solid discussion. And they so what they have is they have about 15 to 1600 program managers around the world. Okay, it's a huge company, and they have about 15 to 1600 program managers across the world. And what they want to do is the challenge that these PMs face is, when they talk to the customers for potential projects or upcoming, proposals and trying to get essentially business from the customer. The customers wants to talk about cloud. Yeah. If the customers want to talk about cloud, and if the customers want to understand from you as a program manager or even as a pre-sales consultant that, hey, how can your company help me? My project is with you for the last 5 years. Now I want to use benefits of cloud, right? How can you help me? Now, if you don't understand cloud at a decent level, you won't be able to have that conversation, right? And you basically, you or I will basically look, cloud illiterate, right, for the lack of words. So, understanding cloud is a basic necessity rather than a choice of career itself, right? So, this program will help you make those conversations exactly, right? And those conversations are not at 10,000 feet level. You will also have to talk to the customer. Hey, what kind of cloud would you want to have? What kind of services would you want to consume? What kind of services might be suitable for you, even though you don't have to work on those services, right? Manish, are you following me? So yes, so to have those kind of conversations, you need a certain technical capability. Even though you won't build solutions yourself, you will hand it over to your technical team, but you need certain amount of expertise, and that is what you need to build as far as cloud is concerned. And this program will help you do that, because the design that we take from for this particular program. So essentially, we now offer 3 programs. We started with one program a year ago, right? Now we have 3 offerings, but for senior people, we have the cloud architect program, and our agenda is we want to enable all of you to think like architects, right? All of you would not want to become architects, but all of you should think like architects, and that is when you can take a balanced approach, have multiple perspectives, and then have a meaningful conversation with your customer. And this is just one example, right? There are multiple things that such a knowledge base will enable. So I hope, Manish, this gives you some idea, and if you want a detailed discussion, we can take it one-on-one. No, that was just an example that I gave it to you. Cloud literacy is very simple. You have multiple free courses online, right? That is not the our agenda here. So, like I said, for having those meaningful conversations, you need much more than literacy, right? You need some basic hands-on skills. You need to understand how a VM looks and feels. How you need to understand how database services, look and feel on cloud. How do you use them, right? Even though you don't have to become an architect ultimately. So just literacy might help you a little, but it won't, enable you, empower you as far as cloud is concerned. Okay, great. Hari Kumar. Okay, let me expand this question. Okay, so I'm not a network engineer or admin working technical area like Unix, shell script, and Perl. How cloud will help my career? Okay. So Hari Kumar, okay, you're a technical lead, and you're working on Unix and Perl. Is that what you mean? Okay, okay. Hey Hari, so there are two ways, right? Essentially, whether you're a developer or even a network admin, or even if you're an automation engineer writing scripts for your app or the infrastructure, whether all of us like or not, tomorrow the systems will change. Okay, your network will need to become a cloud-based setup. Your apps will start having cloud components. Your databases will have start having instances on the cloud, and your architect might come back and say, "Hey, let's change this." Right? You've been doing traditional stuff. Let's make it cloud enabled. Right? So for that particular reason, you need to be a cloud savvy, either tech lead or admin or manager or even an architect. Right? So it's like you how you deal with artificial intelligence. Yeah. So AI is not just for researchers, it's even for normal developers because now you want AI enabled applications. It's also for people who are architects because you need to understand how do you enable AI in all of the aspects that you create. So for you, cloud will help you a lot and it actually will put you on a fast track career trajectory. Yeah. Okay, so Vineet, I'll let me take your question in a bit because we'll discuss about DevOps in a little while, right? I don't want to divert the attention of everybody from cloud to DevOps as yet, but we will discuss your question, right? So just give me a bit. And if somehow I forget to come back to the question, please, just remind me. Just type it again, and you can just copy paste here. We have launched a program for DevOps as well, right? That is what I really want to discuss with all of you. So I'll come back to your question again. Yeah. Vineet, will that work for you? Okay, great. Okay, so I have a slide for all of you, by the way. For the questions that you're from X domain and you want to come to cloud, I have a very interesting slide for you. Let's go out there and I'll take Ritesh's question and Vineet's question accordingly, right? Just give me a moment, guys. Let's get back to the slides. Okay, so let me skip this part as of now. But essentially, what I wanted to tell all of you guys here and discuss with you is cloud is a lot more than just virtual machines, right? It is a lot more than just infrastructure. Cloud is also enabling new methods of software delivery. So there are companies whose only product is APIs, right? They sell APIs and they make money out of it, right? People who are writing and deploying software, they would understand the importance of containers and microservices based development, right? When you talk about cloud native applications. So that's again an exciting aspect, of technology which cloud is enabling. Again, for DB guys, for data guys, we're talking about elastic analytical databases. Now, the age of relational DBs, um, as much as it is in present, it's getting older, right? So you need to understand not just RDBMSs, but NoSQL databases. You need to understand the concept of data lake. You need to understand when to combine with what, and which solution is the best for your particular requirement. And with things like IoT and smart cities, we are again going back to the older discussion of edge computing, right? So we started with a central machine in the age of mainframes with dumb terminals. Then we said, hey, intelligence needs to be at both the places. So we had some intelligence on the end machine, which was our consumer. So client server architecture. So with cloud, again, everything has become centralized on the cloud. All you need is a browser and an internet connection. But again, with IoT, because you can't do everything in a centralized manner, we are going back to the idea of edge computing. So the idea here is to not understand each of these aspects, but to take the message that cloud is much more than just infrastructure. It is about a lot of things. So as an architect, you might want to learn all of these things, and you should. Right, so we'll quickly browse through all of these. So naturally, cloud professionals are in demand, right? These numbers are in US dollars, but even if you do a typical LinkedIn salary research or a Glassdoor salary research, and also one of the companies recently published an article. So cloud architect is one of the top roles that people are hiring for, right? And you're getting big bucks. Even if you check our website, or in general, if you talk to people, the typical transition uh, salary or the package hike is from 30 to 45%, which is average, right? So people are in demand who know cloud hands-on in a hands-on fashion. Like I said, there is much more to cloud than just infrastructure. So you need to learn all of these things, yes, to become a solid architect. Top skills that you need to learn in the cloud: so databases and big data, enterprise cloud migration, containers, DevOps, and of course cloud governance and security. Right now, before we go into how we can help you, and what's the philosophy of our program and all of that, and why did we start a program on cloud computing. So there's a clear challenge in the industry, right? Now a lot of people are doing certifications, especially AWS certifications, right? Which is great. Okay, certifications are fantastic for a very specific reason. They allow you to get above one single filter when a recruiter is doing a search for people. And if you have a certification, you'll have some advantage. But that advantage is only until you get a job call, right? And until you get an interview call. What happens when you enter the interview panel, right? When you enter the room and start talking to people. The certifications are good for validating your skills, and those skills should be hands-on. But unfortunately, a lot of people study dumps. A lot of people take quick online courses, clear certifications, and certification exams test you in a very specific way, which is kind of fixed. You know the pattern, you know what kind of questions will come in, you kind of prepare for them, you talk to people, and you crack those exams, right? You get a certificate. The problem with that particular approach is you are never building solutions. You are not building real life solutions, which you will be expected to do from your customer, by your bosses, from your team leads, and as a team lead yourself. So solution building and problem solving is actually the missing part of the puzzle. And the problem is solution building is multidisciplinary. It is not just about EC2, it is not about just about S3, it is not just about databases. It is about a lot of other things, right? Load balancing, auto scaling, identity, authentication, how do you scale up, how do you monitor, alerts, all of that. So solution building is multidisciplinary, and certifications do not help you understand that. That is the problem. So even when I interview people for a position based on the cloud, for AWS or even for Azure or Google, many of them have certifications, but quite just maybe a couple of all of them will be able to actually build a solution for me, right, if I give them a cloud account. So that's the problem, and that is exactly what we are trying to solve with our PG program in cloud computing for architects and cloud engineer and DevOps engineer programs for early career professionals. So you should learn how things actually work, and certifications teach you how things actually work, but in real life, that's not how they're supposed to work. Things will fail, things will not work, and you need to find a solution to that. And that is exactly what we kind of discuss, and we try to help you guys understand. So when things fail, how to fix it is precisely the expertise that companies are willing to pay you for. If everything was just ideal, then everybody who had a certification would have built a solution, right? That's not the fact. And it's not just us, it's the industry talking the same thing. They have a common sentiment. So people are hiring skilled, either AWS or Azure or Google solution architects. They do not want just paper certified ones, right? So it's an important message for all of us to keep in mind. Right, so let's come to the program and let's see what we have on offer and how can Great Learning and Great Lakes help you, make a successful career in cloud and DevOps. Let me talk about the first program, our flagship program, which we started a year back. More than 350 people have signed up for the program, are learning with us, learning every week because it's a weekly program. Industry mentors are participating in this particular movement. and this is one of the, it's arguably the most successful program in the country, right? So it's a 6 months executive program for working professionals, so you don't have to leave your jobs. It is designed for people who are or want to become, cloud architects, right? You might have been a solution architect, you might have been an enterprise architect already, uh, right? The average experience age of our learners is 11 years, right? So you might already be an architect, but you might have never built projects on cloud, right? You might never have the need to interact with cloud-based systems. So if you fall in any of those categories, this program is for you. So it is 6 months. It's completely online, and it is a mentored learning model, right? So the way it works out is every week we tell you what to do. Every week you'll have stuff to learn, right? You will have our proprietary content to consume for 3 to 5 hours. That's the average amount of content that we share with you. So there's a lot of learning that is going to come, and there's a tons of hands-on work and exposure, right? The amount of labs and projects that you will do is unmatched to any other program, and not just in numbers, because numbers might be misleading, but the actual kind of work that you do. I'll show you a sample of how people feel when they complete one of our projects, and you'll kind of get an idea of how real life impact you can derive from it. You learn from people who practice cloud. You learn from people who practice DevOps, right? So, without going into claims that they are the best people in the world to teach you this, and nobody else can teach you, but realistically, what I really want to understand here is, people who teach you practice what they preach. Okay, so if for example I am teaching you XYZ, if somebody else is teaching you XYZ, they know what it means, they've done it, and they work with the industry, right? They build real life projects, and that's how you actually learn. The icing on the cake is you will get a certificate from one of the top institutions of India, which is Great Lakes Institute of Management, right? Um, they are one of the top 10 business schools in the country, amongst the private business schools. And if you take all business schools into account, they are ranked 16th in the country, ahead of many IIMs and IITs itself, right? So that's the summary in a nutshell. If you choose this particular program, you'll do all of these things, right? You will become a hands-on cloud architect, and you will have the ability of building cloud agnostic solutions, right? We do not want you to become just AWS architect or Azure architect or Google architect, right? We want you to learn cloud irrespective of the platform, but we only use AWS and Azure and Google as medium of instructions, right? Our emphasis is always on the concepts irrespective of the platform, because tomorrow platforms can change, right? But you don't have to learn cloud every day again, right? That's how all good programs work. So you'll become a cloud agnostic architect. You learn AWS for sure, a lot of it, and you get to choose the second cloud platform between Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure based on your interest and project needs, right? You will work with all the adjacent and tangential technology movements. Like you learn containers, you'll understand microservices, you'll work on DevOps. DevOps in this case is just cloud native DevOps, right? Which is on AWS. You'll get to understand and discuss cloud design patterns and an open stack for private cloud. You will also understand cloud financials, adoption migration, etc. Let me not get into all of the details as part of the brochure. And finally, for people who are developers and people, so PGPCC in general does not need you to have programming skills, right? So, but we have an additional offering which is free of cost for people who purely have development interest and can avail this after they have completed the PG program, right? It's free of cost. So once you complete PG program in cloud computing, you can take a developer track, which is an extra course in a project, and a certain number of extra sessions that you need to complete, right? So that's absolutely free of cost for you. Just a sample of people who will interact with you, who will try to share their knowledge, right? And also try to learn from you, because remember, all of you are working professionals. So one of the most important emphasis and things that we put in our program is everybody shares their knowledge. It's not just, it's a one-way knowledge flow. It has to be a peer-to-peer learning. And while we will share our knowledge with you, you have equal responsibility of also contributing back and helping us understand what you need to learn. as a potential cloud architect. Now, this was the slide I wanted all of you to see, right? This is our typical class profile when people come to learn PGP in cloud computing, right? And this is roughly the representation across batches. The domains might increase, but these are typically the top domains that we have, right? So you see the work experience distribution, which is the class diversity in terms of number of years of experience. In the center, you see where do people come from, and on the right, which is kind of not very important, but still for your information, the qualification that people have, right? So you can imagine your peer group when you come to learn with us, and these are people from the top companies, right? So if you look at the experience here, 34% of people are in the experience range of 8 to 12 years. Now, these are again senior people. You have very senior people in your batch also, which is great for learning, because that's how you understand real life use cases, what are the challenges they might have faced, and learn from their years of experience, right? So you can stay ahead of time. People come from consulting, manufacturing, telecom, BFSI, IT and technology, of course. So all these domains, others will include healthcare. People are coming from healthcare, people are coming from retail, right? So all these domains need to learn cloud, and that is where our people are coming from, right? So this data is from our actual participants, and people have different job designations, right? People have head of engineering positions, lead application developer, senior software engineer, tech lead, infrastructure engineer, network admin, and so on, right? Just to mention a few. So what will you do as part of the program? A very interesting fact for all of you who are considering applying to our program: we do not give you theoretical assessments. We do not give you MCQ-based exams or questions. The only things you will be evaluated in the 6 months time frame is the labs and projects that you do, right? We only evaluate hands-on work, and of course your understanding based on that, but we will not give you theoretical assignments that you can complete. Okay, so you will build a lot of stuff, you will do a lot of labs, and we will evaluate you based on only hands-on work, right? Now, this is an actual email. I've kind of masked the actual email ID and details for privacy purposes, but you can see the date, you can see the first name, you can see it is addressed to our support team as well as the cloud computing email ID, and the subject is. So essentially, what has happened is this particular a student did the first project. So our first project in the PG program is setting up a Dropbox-like solution, right, on the cloud, which is, and we used an open source app called Own Cloud for that, right? So and we deployed on AWS in a highly available setup and all of that. So this person implemented the project, and he was so happy with the learnings that he had. He went ahead and implemented the same project in production in his own company, okay, in his own department, and right now that's working. People are using it, and we are very happy with the implementation. So something that he did as part of the program, he straight away had the ability and the desire to replicate it in his own company, right? So that is as close as you can get to a real life impact from the projects and labs that you do, right? So this was his email, and I just wanted to share with all of you guys, because nothing better than an actual learner testimonial, right? Which kind of showcases what people feel when they do the labs and projects. Another benefit, absolutely free of cost for people who learn with us. So recently we collaborated with AWS Educate, which is their global educational initiative, and as part of this particular relationship, you get a lot of items online, including AWS Educate Job Board, which has relevant job opportunities around the world, not just from AWS, from its partners. You can also have, you will also have the ability of taking more than 20 learning pathways, which you can complete and get an online badge from AWS, and quite a number of other things, right? So that's again free of cost, available to everybody who learns with us and completes the program. And this will be available to you, for 1 year from AWS, right? So you need to complete all of that in a year's time, right? But as far as Great Lakes and Great Learning content is concerned, you will have access to it even beyond graduation, right? And it's beyond 1 year, right? So that's a great benefit for you to kind of aspire for as a Great Learning student. So that was about our cloud architect program and for senior people, right? So PGPCC and PGP in cloud computing is essentially meant for people who are, kind of mid-career to senior people, right? 5+ years of experience and who have done a couple of projects in their companies. And when I say projects, they've worked with multiple customers and seen the technology lifecycle. And people who want to become cloud architects, cloud practice heads, cloud delivery managers, and so on, right? There are multiple positions. Now, for younger people, okay, so for people who are in the early career stages, right, 0 to 5 years of experience, who want to launch either their cloud or DevOps, right, in careers, we have launched 2 programs for them, right? These are again exciting programs. Again, completely online. So the Cloud Engineer Certificate program is for people who want to launch their cloud career, right? So, people in the 0 to 5 or 0 to 3, let's say, experience bracket can avail this particular program and get started with it, right? It's 3 months. And again, the details are, can be checked online. But if you want to become a cloud engineer, this is the program for you. And similarly, for people who want to, explore DevOps in depth, we've released the DevOps Engineer Certificate program, right? And both these programs are 3 months, completely online, can be done with your job, right? So please check out these programs as well on our website. For career support, we've launched an exciting new initiative, right? We've consolidated all of our efforts that we used to do for our learners, and we're calling it GL Accelerate. This is the URL. All of you can check out and please go through it. So all the things that you see on the website are kind of something that people can take benefit from. So we're doing career fairs, we are doing job boards. We're conducting hackathons. We offer you one-to-one career mentorship and more, right? So do check out what we do for career support, and it's a lot of things that you should be excited about, right? So we've reached the end of this particular session, and let me now take all the questions, right? I'm going to the questions window now. Okay. So I will go back to Vineet's question. So Vineet, we've released the DevOps Engineer program for people who want to learn DevOps tools, right? So you might want to explore that, and being a solution engineer in networking, both the programs are actually relevant for you, both the cloud programs that we have and the DevOps Engineer program, right? Now it depends upon the experience level that you have and what's your aspiration like. Ritesh, looking at our typical class profile, which has telecom as a domain where people come to learn with us as cloud. So 9% of our students represent the telecom domain, right? Even from the first batch, way back in January 2018, we had a couple of people right in the first batch coming from telecom. And I think it's a natural evolution for you to learn cloud because all telecom companies are using cloud capabilities, right? Whether you are Airtel, whether you're Vodafone, whether you're BSNL, really doesn't matter, right? Or whether you're British Telecom or any other company. Yeah. So if you have 5+ years of experience and if you are looking to become an architect in near future, and if you have some existing knowledge, of the basics of what we need as far as cloud is concerned, you can sign up for the PG program in cloud computing, right? If you are less than 5 years of experience, if you want to get started with cloud, you can then sign up for a cloud engineer program, right? So we can have a discussion and I can help you make that particular choice. Yeah. Vineet again. So should I learn AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, which are vendor specific? So Vineet, it depends on also what kind of requirements you have. So if you have an immediate project at your company which requires you to learn Google Cloud, then obviously you don't have a choice, right? You will have to learn Google Cloud. Yeah. So it depends on what you need, what your company needs, and if it is just a random choice that you're trying to make as a career option, then you should first obviously learn AWS, right? Because of the sheer market size and the number of jobs that it has, right? So there's no specific answer to that. It depends on your priorities and what you need immediately. Himmel, can we run through the course contents? So Himmel, like I said, because of lack of time, to be honest, it will be difficult for me to go through each course. But if you just open the website, everything is out there, right? All the courses are listed, all the sub points are listed, and you can easily access all of that. Himmel, will that be okay with you, Himmel? You can check it on the website. It's all available out there. Also, download the brochure. But we cover a lot of things, right? So we cover AWS, right? So when I say AWS, we do not cover, and it does not make sense to cover all the 150 services that AWS has, but we cover everything that you need to build a solution on AWS, right? So all the services that you can imagine that are kind of required to actually build a meaningful solution. We cover containers, we cover a lot of microservices, we cover a lot of cloud native design patterns. We do DevOps on cloud, we do private cloud. We give you an option of choosing between Azure and Google Cloud, right? We offer you a free developer track. So Himal, there's a lot of things I just mentioned, right, which are part of the curriculum, but just go and have a check on the website. That should help you. Sachin. Okay, so how cloud is changing for non-tech professional, that is ITIL service management. Sachin, ITIL is also technical in nature to some extent, right? It's not just business process, but since your services will change in nature, since the SLAs will be dependent on somebody else. So for imagine a service where, right, you are not the infrastructure owner, right? Somebody else is. So how do you manage those services? How do you manage the SLAs? How do you create the workflow for your ticketing systems, right? How do you do escalations? So it's a good idea for you to learn cloud, not just because you're a non-tech professional, but a lot of things in ITL will also get automated, and learning cloud will help you kind of get a sense of what all things can you do as far as an ITL professional is concerned, right? Because I would categorize that under the larger banner of IT support, right, and enablement services. So a lot of people in our class are from ITIL. Kailash, for DevOps, we do not have a pre-requirement, right? We start from absolute basics, so there are no prerequisites because it is for early career professionals. Yeah. So even senior professionals can sign up for the DevOps thing, but it's actually designed for young people, 0 to 5 years of experience. So no prerequisites. Kailash, does that help you? We start from scratch, absolutely zero. Hey Kailash, are you still there? Okay, wonderful. Yeah, okay, thanks. Kalyan, how good are the placements in GL after getting the PG course in, as the companies are asking at least 2 years of experience in cloud? Okay. Now, Kalyan, good question. We do not guarantee placements, right? I might sound quite crisp here, but placements make sense for early career professionals, right? So especially if you're a fresher. Now, for experienced people, placements happen in a different fashion. I will not call it placements, but job transitions. And you need to apply to the right opportunities. You need to be with the right companies at the right time. You need to make your network connections. You need to talk to hiring managers and so on, right? So even if, for example, if I had to apply to a different job position, I wouldn't depend just on a course, right? But if you complete the program, if you follow all the guidelines and recommendations that we give you as part of the career support, you are very highly likely to get a transition, right? As far as cloud is concerned and DevOps is concerned, because people have got transitions, and I gave you a number some time back. So right, so it's happening. You can also check out the testimonials on the website. So people have got placements and transitions, but it's something that cannot be guaranteed for work ex professionals. I hope that clarifies this. Okay, Vineet. Vineet, as far as AWS certification is concerned and DevOps certification is concerned, um, so solutions architect associate you can get absolutely. Yes, yes. I don't know which DevOps certification you're talking about though. AWS associate architect certification, yes. And a very interesting statistics for all of you: 40% of people who come to learn with us are already AWS certified, right? And they come to us because they need to get real life hands-on exposure, right? Because getting certification is one thing, building solutions is other. Yeah, so absolutely. Vineet, does that help you? Okay, Nitin. I have 8+ years of experience as a release engineer, but I lack hands-on programming experience using Python, etc. Which would be the ideal course for me? Plan to become a DevOps engineer and architect. A very clear question, Nitin. Thank you for that. And the answer is pretty obvious for you. You should plan to sign up for DevOps. You should transition into a DevOps role. Yeah. So you might want to consider our DevOps engineer program, which is exactly what we are trying to do. Nitin, are you still there? I hope my answer clarifies it for you. No, DevOps. So we have three programs, right? So DevOps engineer program is for 3 months, right? But if you take up the PGP cloud computing program, that is for 6 months. But the PG program in cloud computing is not dedicated to DevOps, right? It covers DevOps only on cloud. But if you want to learn DevOps both on premises and on the cloud and everything about it, DevOps engineer is the right program for you. Does it help you? Okay, wonderful. Right, what do we have, Kailas? Any scripting information required for DevOps? So scripting we'll teach you, Kailas. Yeah, yeah. We'll teach you. Python scripting. Yeah. Harikumar, does cloud architecture requires developer experience? You mean the PG program in cloud computing, Hari? No, no. If you have it, it is great. If not, it's not a barrier, right? For people who are developers, we have a separate developer track. It does not require. Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Vineet has another question. Can we get our AWS certification with DevOps and Cloud Engineer course? Vineet, I think I answered this question. So AWS certification, yes, but AWS has 9 certifications. So as far as associate level certification is concerned, you can apply for both associate architect and SysOps. Yeah. As far as DevOps is concerned, it is not targeted towards a certification. Neither do we, just fix our curriculum to the certification. So you can easily clear the certification. 50 to 60% of the questions, if you do all our labs and projects, you should be able to do that. But that should not be a barrier for you to consider the program because we teach you much more than that, right? And certifications, we support you in that particular learning journey, right? You also get to learn from people who have already cleared the certification, right? They will share their experiences. Vineet, did you get that? Okay, wonderful, right? Great, guys. So we are on time. Lots of wonderful questions. So thanks to each one of you for being so interactive and asking all these questions. It's been great talking to you guys. Let me just share this particular slide before I close. So you can reach out to these two numbers. Um, I mean, the first one is obviously an email ID you can write to if you have a detailed set of questions. Call us if you want to discuss in detail your candidature, your plans, and we'll help you choose the right course. And please visit our website, which is greatlearning.in. Right, just Google Great Learning, you'll find us, and give us a visit. Right, and look forward to hear back from you. And I hope this particular 1 hour has been beneficial for you in some or the other way. And thank you for participating on a Saturday. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.